Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Powerful Man Show. I am your host, Doug Holt, with my co-host, Tim, the Powerful Man Matthews. How you doing, brother?
Doing very well. Yeah, you?
Doing great.
Hungry.
You're at the end of a 3-day fast. Food in sight.
Man, Amelia, 2 nights ago, Amelia had Domino's. Last night, she had pizza again. I'm sat there. It's interesting the ways that when you fast, at least for me, I really become aware of the ways I use food. I think you did. You were doing a fast a few weeks ago.
Yep.
You said the same thing. You go up from your office and you found yourself just going to grab a snack, even though you just habit. It's insane.
It's hilarious. Yeah, I'd walk up my stairs, and to get to the bathroom, I walk right by the pantry. And it's just so much habit to just open that pantry door, grab a snack, and it's just unconscious. And so when I was fasting, I would literally grab the handle on the pantry door and then go, oh, that's right, I'm fasting, I can't eat. And I had to have done it a half a dozen times, if not more, before I broke that habit, you got to laugh at it, right? Because you see how you use it. I am and was such an emotional eater, right? Just anxiety, stress, or boredom, whatever it is.
Yeah. Release.
Yeah.
It's like a release, isn't it? I was thinking it was Monday evening, so I started on Sunday evening. Monday evening, we had some meetings and things, and I went downstairs and I'm like, oh shit. Oh, what am I gonna do? So obviously I would have cooked at that point.
Yep.
I'm just sat there on the sofa, just kind of sat there chatting with Amelia while she's eating, and I'm like, this is weird. I've done a 2-day fast before, but it's amazing. Energy's been great. Like, it's been full days of work still. I've not cut anything down. The only thing I've not done is work out. I didn't work out on yesterday. Yesterday and today I would have usually worked out, and I didn't. But I feel good.
Do you and Amelia usually eat separately?
Just depends. I mean, most of the time we eat together. We don't eat the same food. But most of the time we eat together, and we'll often cook separately because we don't eat the same food.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, Tim, I got a point for us today, and this is a total change of subject, but it's something that we've talked about before in the podcast. I think it's worth revisiting, so to speak, and opening it up. And what I've noticed is, and this is common, right? You and I, of course, we never do it, in case anybody's listening. Our wives are listening, our partners. But we complain about our partner, right? If so-and-so would do this, I know you and I would never do that. But if so-and-so would do that, my partner would be nicer. If my partner would appreciate me more. If my partner would, give me more blowjobs, right? I was talking to a guy the other day. We're doing the sexual mastery course, the 101 course for the guys in the Brotherhood. And a lot of these conversations came up, right? My wife doesn't put in enough effort into this relationship. My wife doesn't do this, da-da-da. Anyway, we've all experienced this. We get it. So then the question that I threw back to them was, hey, are you being the kind of partner you want your partner to be? In other words, are you first and foremost stepping to the line, being that ideal partner for your partner? Or are you expecting them to step to the line first, or are you just not doing it altogether? And 9 times out of 10, if not 10 times out of 10, when I ask that question to most people, I can see you contemplating. I already know what you're going to say. But 9 times out of 10, if not 10 times out of 10, most people, upon reflection, the answer is no, right? Am I being that kind of partner I want my partner to be? Am I stepping up? Am I showing appreciation a lot? Am I servicing their love language as regularly as I want them to service mine? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So what I'm saying here is not, are you treating your partner the way you want to be treated per se? Because we all have different ways we want to be treated. I happen to know yours is appreciation, Tim, right? And then other people, Amelia's might be quality time or something else. But are we being that person, right? If you want to have more sex with your partner, are you being the partner who creates the romance in the relationship? Are you giving that slow boil, the flirty text messages, taking care of your body, relieving them, allowing her to be in her femininity? Or maybe you're looking for more appreciation, right? But are you showing appreciation for all that she's doing, all that she has done? Are you being grateful? And it's not just once or twice, right? It's a continuous practice. And I know when I ask myself this question regularly, often my answer is no. And then I think, okay, that's cool. Now, what do I get to do to flip the script? What do I get to do to be the kind of partner that I want to be? And this goes not only for you and I and for the guys out here listening that are married, but there's a lot of guys that are either separated, temporarily or permanently, and or going through a divorce. And what I would say to them is, if you answer this question and truly answer it, and the answer is no, and then what one guy said to me, Tim, was, well, I'm not going to put any effort in until my wife does. And that's the wrong answer, guys, because what's happening here is you want to be raising your stock, right? Because if it isn't your partner, I hope it is for you, but if it isn't your partner, that's the one for you. If you become the man, right, that attracts your ideal partner, whether it be your wife or someone else, if your wife leaves, you separate for whatever reason, you're going to be more readily available for that right person to step into your space.
Yeah, good point. I mean, I'm kind of contemplating whether I am or not. And it's definitely not a hell yes, that's for sure. I don't think it's a hell no. I think if we were to live in black and white, pure yes or no, which I think is kind of a tough thing to do with this question in some respects. I think because in some ways I definitely am. In some ways I could improve for sure. But yeah, it's a great question to ponder, right? Because I wonder if it'd ever be a full hell yes, right? I don't know if you've ever been at that point where it's a full across the board. Do you know what? Every single thing, boom, I'm smashing it. Maybe it's possible. I don't know. Maybe I'm playing small. Maybe I'm.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you could always ask Amelia, right? You can ask your partner this question if you have that kind of relationship where you have the space to be open and honest with each other. But I think this is a moving target, Tim, right? I think there's points on that you can check into where you're like, yes, I'm doing that now, but am I always doing it, right? And I think like any moving target, like, am I being the best, right? That target moves, but it's not necessarily hitting the target. That's the goal here. It's the journey to hit that target, right? It's the man that you become trying, or then you become going on that journey of being a better partner. So when I ask myself this question as an example, right? And I asked myself this question this morning because I thought, okay, I asked the guys this. I'm going to sit down and ask myself the question to see what comes up. And I started listing areas where, no, I'm not going after it in certain areas, right? Even in my own personal life. I thought, interesting. And I started identifying those. And that gave me inspiration and motivation to make some shifts. As we're recording this, and this is going to be released right going into the fourth quarter of 2020, right? It's a good time to reflect and look at these things. Look at your relationships. If your marriage isn't working out, if your relationships aren't working out, whatever it is, you're separated, divorced, what have you, this is still a great time to reflect and say, hey, was I being the kind of partner that I want to attract, right? I want someone who's personal growth motivated. Am I being personal growth motivated? If I want somebody who is going to give me unconditional love, right? I want that person, I want that woman who's just going to love me no matter what. If I get drunk or I get stupid, whatever it is, she's going to love me. Or are you loving her unconditionally, right? And are you being the type of guy, if you're getting drunk all the time, are you being the kind of partner you want her to, to attract? Like, you want her to be drunk all the time? And if you do, that's cool, right? But you're going to go through different stages in life, right? Some guys in their 20s, right? You go to the clubs, you go to the bars, the pubs. That's great. When you get into your 40s, if you're still doing that, chances are you might not be attracting the kind of lifestyle and the person. You're certainly not doing that all the time if you're listening to a podcast like this, right? So I think that question is a great question to help us look at ourselves from a different and unique angle.
And this is leadership within a relationship, right? I think, we're on the enrollment team meeting with the enrollment team yesterday, I think. And we were talking about masculinity because one of the guys, he fills out his end of day report and he put on there one of the areas he wants to have training in is how to become more masculine or being more masculine with the woman in his life. And I said to him, well, what does that mean to you? You know, how will you know when you're there? And he's like, well, oof, great question. This kind of feeds into this, right? And you know, there's various different books out there which are great and talk about leadership, you know, the masculine role within a relationship, right? To be able to
Yeah.
hold that space and pass those tests and all that kind of stuff we've spoken about. But really, where leadership starts within a relationship is this: you taking responsibility to make sure that you are bringing your best self to the relationship. That in itself is leadership, right? Because you're taking a stand for the relationship, the purpose of the relationship, what it might be, whether that's something you guys have agreed upon or whether it's just something in your own head, whatever, right? Um, and I think by default, if you're in that conversation, you're going to be answering this question. And yeah, again, I don't think I think it's a dangerous place to be if you ever arrive at the point where you think, do you know what? Boom, I've made it.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
that's it. Work is done. And I am, even for myself, you know, if I ever think that, do you know what? I am being the best I could be in this relationship and I don't have to do anything else. And it's again, that's when I become lazy. I mean, I'd imagine that's when I'd become lazy. Um, and I wouldn't be being the partner that I would want.
Well, that's the thing, right? You're always striving, and most of the guys listening to this are. It's kind of like fitness. You can get the body that you wanted, right? But then you get there and you're like, all right, now I want to change my body. Or fitness in the sense of I want to be able to run a marathon. Well, I
Mm,
know after I ran my marathon, I was like, okay, I want to reduce my run times, right? And
mhm,
whatever it may be, you set the goal. The goals change over time. You can have a maintenance period. I think you can in the relationship too, but it depends on where you're going to go. You have to go back and look at these milestones and ask these questions.
mm,
I'm 43. I'm very different than, my wife and I met 10 years ago. I was a different man, right? I was a different man
mhm,
then. So if I don't check in to see what I want in a partnership, right? That's the first step. First of all, I think most men, most of us don't take time to sit down and write down what is it we really want in a partner,
mm,
right? And then take time, go, great. Am I the type of man that's going to attract this person? In other words, am I being the type of partner that would attract my ideal partner? So, common complaints that we hear from the guys, Tim, all the time is my wife doesn't appreciate me. She's bitchy. She doesn't work on herself. She doesn't take care of her health, her body. She spends too much money, et cetera, et cetera. Right. So, maybe list your top 5 complaints about your partner and then look in your life. Where are you doing
mm,
it? Right. You and I joke about this all the time, and all the guys do is when the guys start complaining that their wives are spending too much money, almost every guy then looks at what they're spending on and they're like, oh shit, I'm spending a lot more. It's
mm,
it's such a common thing. And that's what has to do with triggers, right? You get triggered when it's usually something that occurs within you.
mm,
So I think this is a really good metric for men, for all of us to look at, right? And the steps that I'll throw out there to do, for the guys listening is one, sit down and think and write down what kind of partner do you really want?
mhm,
Is it appreciation? Is it unconditional love? Use the whatever words you want to use and languaging that you want to use. And then look at yourself. Are you being that kind of partner? Right. And are you the type of man right now in this moment that's going to attract that ideal partner? So if you're
mm,
saying, hey, I want a woman who has sex with me 7 days a week, fit body, et cetera, and then you're sitting at home eating ding dongs and drinking beer all day, and you got to lose 60 pounds, there's a problem there, right? You're out of integrity and out of alignment with what you're trying to attract, right? Like attracts like. We all know that. I mean, you could say it's metaphysical, you could say it's spiritual, you can just say frick. I was looking for a black car, and all of a sudden I see black cars everywhere, right? It's just the way the world works. And so it's a great, question to be in the inquiry of and really see where you're at. And then once you've done this, and pause and make sure you do this, guys. Now, what step can you take right now to move you closer to that goal?
mm. Yeah, great point. I think I add one more to it as well. What are all the complaints you've got about your partner, right? And I know we were kind of writing that, but yeah, I think to re-emphasize, write down a list of all those complaints, because at the end of the day, you get what you tolerate. And typically, if you've got all these complaints, like we've said, spending money or whatever, chances are you're going to be doing some of them, or maybe even all of them as well. And it's amazing what happens when you start making those changes on yourself, what happens around. And I think, again, coming back to an earlier point, I don't think we'll ever answer this question, right? It's kind of like, what does it mean to be a man, right? It's kind of one of those philosophical, great questions to ponder. And I think you hit the nail on the head when the key isn't answering the question. The key is being in the conversation of the question. And if you're in this conversation routinely enough, be it once a week, part of your weekly review, or even, you sit down with your partner once a week and ask, it might be tough at first to get the feedback. But if you make it about you and you ask, one of the questions we get the men to ask their wives through, of course, the activation method is, what's it like to be in a relationship with me? Which is kind of similar to, am I being the partner that you want? And just imagine, guys, what might happen if you were to ask the question, take the feedback, make the changes, and then a few weeks later, ask the question, take the feedback, make the changes, without trying to make it about your wife, without trying to change her, without using it as an opportunity to air your frustrations, but instead just taking care of your side of the street. Chances are that's going to create an environment for your wife to blossom and open up and see you and be like, wow, he's making these changes and he's taking it on board. And I feel safe. I feel inspired. I'm going to kind of do it too. It's amazing to see. It often happens with the guys as they go through the activation method and the brotherhood and they stop trying to change others or complain about others and just, change themselves. Now you say it often, right? So what do you say about the other people not changing? I can't remember what you probably don't know.
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
You say that many great lines, Doug, that you can't even remember them. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. It's amazing what happens when you change yourself and focus on you.
Yeah. So, also what I think is really important, guys, here, and I'm just going to be straight, is if you're not doing these exercises, you're being a victim. You're choosing to play the victim role, right? If you're not doing the work, you're being a victim. If you're complaining about your wife, but not willing to look at your own side of the street, so to speak, you're being a victim. Just accept it, right? Right here, right now, get mad at me or whatever, but accept it. Now, if you're doing the work, awesome. Nothing but props and respect to you. But if you're not, and you're just listening to this, and you're not actually doing the exercises, you're not actually being active and participating, you are playing the victim role, making excuses. And my guess is that's not the type of partner you want to attract.
Great point.
All right, guys, I'm going to end on that note here. As always, go over to thepowerfulman.com/bonus and pick up a free training. And if you have anything else, questions, I'd love to hear your responses over in our Facebook group. Guys, we'll see you next time on The Powerful Man Show.